Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Panagsanib na puwersa ng PBS Radyo Pilipinas World Service at Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Magsisilbing tulay sa himpapawid para sa Filipino diaspora. Dala ay balita, impormasyon at serbisyo publiko na mag-uugnay sa pamahalaan at OFWs sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Tampok din ang mga Pilipino na nagbibigay inspirasyon, kampyon ng kultura, tradisyon at katatagan ng Pilipino sa kapwa Pinoy saan man sa mundo. Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Ang Commission on Filipinos Overseas o CFO ay kinagagalak na itanghal ang Bridges on Air kaakibat ang Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Para sa inyong kaalaman, ang CFO ay ang ahensya ng gobyerno na naatasang siguraduhin ang mga Pilipino saan man sa mundo ay may kaugnayan sa bansang Pilipinas. Nais ng CFO ng ating mga migrante ay kasama natin sa pambansang pag-unlad. Hangad ng CFO ang isang komunidad ng mga kagalang-galang at mahuhusay na Pilipino sa ibayong dagat na makabuluhang nag-aambag sa kapakanan ng bansang kanilang titirahan habang nanatili na matibay ang ugnayang pampolitika, pangkabuhayan at pangkultural sa Pilipinas. Kaya naman po ay nais namin ipakilala ang Bridges on Air, ang programang magbibigay ng boses sa mga Pilipino sa iba't ibang sulok ng mundo upang ibahagi ang kanilang kwento, tagumpay at mga pangarap bilang migrante. Nagpapasalamat po kami sa tulong ng Radyo Pilipinas World Service upang mabigyan ng pagkakataon ating mga kababayan sa ibayong dagat na maging kabalikat natin sa mga usapin at talakayan patungkol sa pabansang kaunlaran. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang migranteng Pilipino. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
Muli po, isang mapagpalang pagbati at welcome na naman sa isa pang edisyon ng programang Bridges on Air. Hatid po sa inyo ng impilang Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kami po inyong mga lingkod, Ray Sampang.
At Alice Gutierrez po para sa Commission on Filipinos Overseas.
And of course, ang programang Bridges on Air, isa pong collaborative endeavor sa pagitan ng Presidential Broadcast Service, Bureau of Broadcast Services at ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas. And of course, sa panig po ng CFO, si Secretary Clink Ang. Okay. Sa panig naman ng PBS, nung nabuo natin ang Bridges on Air, panahon ni Director Dindo Amparo. So, nasan ka man, Director Dindo? Kamusta ka na?
Oh, hey.
Ayan, baka sabihin niya, ano ako, Pia Cayetano? Hindi niya na ako kinakamusta.
Oo nga.
Okay. O nga pala, matanong nga pala kita muna bago natin ipasok itong ating community correspondent. Matagal nung isang araw ko pa iniisip 'to, di ko makuha eh. Alam mo naman, medyo mahina rin ako eh. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng ad hominem?
Ang nabalitaan ko dyan, nung tinanong yung ad hominem na yan, nung binanggit yung ad hominem na yan sa sesyon, kumuha ng calculator yung isang senador. At nagtatanong daw sa katabi, ano ba yung pinapaad?
Okay, blind item natin.
Blind item natin.
Yan ba eh. Yung senador na ba na yan eh, nagsisimula sa first name eh, nagsisimula sa letter R.
Opo.
Oo
Naman.
Okay. Action star.
Oo, maraming aksyon ang ginagawa nito. Alam mo, kuya rin, pinagkakatuwaan na lang natin, pero sa totoo lang, medyo nakakalungkot na bumababa yung level ng diskurso sa ating mataas sa kapulungan.
Totoo yan. Siyempre, ang nakatutok sa, baka yung mga nakikinig at nanonood sa atin, nakala nyo ba, sa loob lang ng Pilipinas ito nakakarating, yung nangyayari sa atin dito. Nakakarating po yan sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Ano po, for example, yung nangyaring kay Bato, yung pagdating niya sa Senado hanggang sa, hindi nga sinasabi yung word na escape di ba? Pag alis niya sa Senado, kino-cover po yan ng mga international media.
At napanood yung nadapa siya sa hagdan.
Ay, isa pa yun. Tsaka yung takbuhan.
Tsaka yung baya kayong putukan doon na hindi natin maintindihan kung may kalaban ba. Hindi mo matawag na barilan eh.
Kaya, yung mga balita itong ito, nakakarating po sa Filipino diaspora sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Kaya aware din po yung ating mga Filipino communities abroad sa nangyayari. And sila rin mismo nakikita rin nila, nagkakaroon sila ng sarili nilang conclusion, pananaw, point of view sa mga nangyayari dito sa Pilipinas.
At saka yung yung nabanggit nga kanina, na nakakalungkot nga na parang nagiging katatawanan doon yung sitwasyon.
Totoo.
Kasi ang Senado talaga kahit nung araw pa ang nakakapasok diyan, yung talagang magagaling, cream of the crop.
Yan. Totoo.
hindi
Salonga.
basta-
Sino ba yan? Salonga, Sagisag, sino pa?
Tanyada.
Tanyada. Aquino, yung si Ninoy. Enrile. Si Miriam.
Miriam Defensor.
Sino pa?
Si Joker Arroyo, si Raul Rocco,
Yung matandang
Rene Sagisag.
yung matandang Anggara. Marami. Sus Mario sa
Kung medyo napapasukan ng hindi karapat dapat, mag-isip naman tayo na sa mga ibinoboto natin.
naalala ko tuloy Joker Arroyo.
Yung-
Isa pa yun, di ba?
Matindi yun.
Isa pa yun, Joker Arroyo. Senator Joker Arroyo.
At hindi joke yung kanyang pagiging senador
Hindi.
doon.
Isa pa, nakalimut dito natin nabanggit. Yung si Senator Richard Gordon na nasa
Oo.
PRC ngayon, di ba? Oo.
Meron, ang dami actually, si Senator Biason.
Isa pa yan. Si
Matindi yan, napakabusisi niya
yan.
ni Senator Biason dahil nakatrabaho ko rin yan minsan.
Mhm.
Kahit si Jun Magsaysay,
Mhm.
mga seryoso sila nung panahon nila
Mhm.
as senators, no?
Nakalimutan ko pa, Maceda.
Si Ernie Maceda.
Oo.
Kahit di ba si Mr. Expose yan eh.
Oo. May mga
Hindi
kanya-kanya na yan.
chismis hindi chismis yung binibitawan niya doon. Talagang may mga nangyari.
May basihan talaga.
May basihan.
May facts. Oo.
Ngayon, papakita, PowerPoint presentation
Video.
na hindi mo maintindihan.
Hindi yung alam mo, marami nag-react nun eh. Lalo na nung minanggit yung Duwag 11, parang gano'n na. Tapos, grade 13 ba yun? Na hindi mo naman, hindi naman kailangan pa yung mga gano'n sa Senado. So, ewan ko kung ano nangyayari ngayon. Lalo na sa Lunes o sa mga darating na araw. Anong susunod na mga mangyayari? Yeah.
Lalo na papasok na yung impeachment.
Mhm.
Tapos alam na natin kung kailan ang simula ng paglilitis kay Pangulong Duterte.
Nako.
So lahat yan, isang pakete yan na ang tawag nga sa nangyayari ngayon sa Senado, Senateflix.
Senateflix. Meron naman ka narinig, drama-rama. Speaking of drama-rama at Senateflix. Mukhang ang CFO mayroong bagong kasunduan o agreement na nagawa with the Film
Development Council of the Philippines.
Pwede kaya nilang gawa ng pelikula ito?
Tingnan natin. Maaari.
Okay. Action, drama?
Oo.
Okay. Gawin nilang series. No, we're just trying to make light of the situation ng mga nangyayari ngayon sa Senado. Kasi kung talagang siseryosohin nyo po, mga kababayan, lalo na yung mga nasa labas ng bansa, lalo na yung mga nasa loob, kung talagang pag-aaralan mo, parang ang bigat na nangyayari sa atin dito sa Pilipinas, lalo na sa Senado. Like sabi nga ni Ares, cream of the crop po yan dati. Yung talaga pag sinabi mong Senate, nandun yung integrity, nandun yung intelligence, nandun yung statesmanship na sinasabi. Ngayon hindi ko lang alam ko meron pa rin namang matitino, pero meron pa rin talaga nakakasingit na kahit sa barangay na session hindi dapat nangyayari. Okay. Well, syempre hindi naman natin pwedeng binoto sila ng tao binoto sila ng ating mga kababayan. Siguro sa mga susunod na election, it will be wise to vote wisely. Sabi nga
Oo.
nila. Anyway, sige, tingnan natin. Kasama natin ang ating CFO community correspondent ngayon, si Miss Prencel.
Mr. Friend.
Mr. ba to?
Oo.
Mr. Sorry.
Kaano ko yan eh. Kasama ko sa service yan eh.
Mr. Prencel Tinga ng ang
Opo.
ating CFO community correspondent. Tanungin ko siya, baka naman papayag ba ang FDCP na maisa pelikula? Ang nangyayari kayo sa Senado. Alright. Prencel, magandang araw. Go ahead.
Magandang araw po, Sir Ray, Sir Ares. Magandang araw din po. Namimiss na po namin kayo dito sa CFO.
Oo nga eh.
Ilang araw na ba siyang wala? Ganun nakatagal?
Medyo matagal na po, sir, na hindi siya nagagawi dito sa opisina po namin.
Ayun.
Oo.
At saka magandang araw rin po, sir, sa mga listeners po ng Bridges on Air.
Yan, sige. So, namimiss ka na nila doon. Ikaw naman, no? Bibisitahin mo kasi si Prencel.
Layo eh. Pero magkalapit kami ng bahay niya.
Sige. Magkalapit lang pala kayo eh. Hindi. So, Prencel, merong bagong kapartner ang CFO sa pamamagitan ng isang memorandum of agreement with FDCP. Can you tell us something about this, Prencel?
Yes, sir. Opo, isang magandang balita po kasi noong May 26 ay na-seal na po ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas ang partnership with the Film Development Council of the Philippines or FDCP. So, para po, ang mandate po kasi ng CFO ay to promote and enhance diaspora engagement for Philippine development. So, gusto po natin na politically, economically, culturally, ang mga Filipinos overseas natin, ang ating diaspora, ang ating mga non-resident Filipinos ay they remain committed and they still give back to their home country. So, naisip po namin, sir, kasi last year po, ang FDCP ay isa sa mga naging judges ng Migration Advocacy and Media Award. So ito po ay isang programa ng CFO where we are the only government agency po na nagko-confer ng ganitong awards sa media nang ang focus ng kanilang work ay on migration. So during po the deliberation po ay nakausap po ni Sir Dante Clinkang, ang chair po ng FDCP, si Direk Jose Javier Reyes, at doon nga po niya nakita na there's a possibility na mag-partner po ang CFO at FDCP sa pag-promote po ng ating Philippine culture, pag-showcase po ng stories ng ating Filipino diaspora, pati po yung mga issues po nila through films.
So, okay. So, itong MOA with FDCP, gaano katagal itong MOA na to, or this is a recurring MOA? Tuloy-tuloy lang.
Tuloy-tuloy lang po ito, sir. Wala naman po itong it's an
Walang
open-ended
expiry.
po.
Good. Good. So,
So,
paano?
unless po ang isang party ay bumitaw na. So, may clause naman po ng ganun po sa ating MOU. So, ang MOU po, sir, was signed by Sec. Dante Clinkang II at ng FDCP chair, si Direk Joey Reyes po. So, nag-serve din po ng witnesses ang CFO Executive Director, Yusek Maria Arlene Borja, at ang Executive Director po ng FDCP na si Miss Rachel Villaluna.
Sir Friends, yung
Yes, sir.
ito bang agreement natin, kasi 'di ba in recent years marami tayong napapanood na pelikula tungkol sa buhay ng mga overseas Filipinos, 'di ba? So, ito bang partnership na pinirmahan ng CFO sa FDCP? Ano to, parang we will be cross-promoting yung mga pelikulang ganyan ang tema, o will we be involved in co-production work?
Tama po kayo dun, sir, no, na marami na po tayong mga migration-related films po na nagawa at naipalabas. So, tama po kayo sa una niyo pong sinabi na we will help po promote yung mga migration-related theme films na relevant po to our overseas Filipinos, to our NRFs, and Filipino diaspora. Actually po kasama po doon sa agreement po natin na magsusponsor po ang FDCP ng Cine Forum every month of overseas Filipinos, which is held po every December of the year. So, for the past po kasi sir, ang FDCP ay part na rin po ng Interagency Committee on the Celebration of MOF. So, ibig sabihin po, before this institutional partnership ay matagal na ring institutional friend po ng CFO ang FDCP. So, actually nga po sir, last year, nag-sponsor po sila ng film na Hello Love Again ni Catherine Bernardo at ni Alden Richards. This was shown po sa UP Film Institute sa UP Diliman. So, di ba sir, ang film po na yon, tinatakel naman niya yung issues ng ating mga permanent migrants at OFW sa Canada. So, yun po yung role po tsaka ambag po ng FDCP po sa IACMOF. So, prior po sa film showing last year, ang mga na-sponsor na rin po nila ng mga films include po yung Never Not Love You ng Jadine, kung napanood niyo po yun, sir.
Never Not Love You. Wow.
Yes, Never Not Love
Alam
You
mo,
ni
Spencer, habang
James Reid at ni Nadine Lustre. So, ang
wow.
kwento naman nun, sir, yung
Tuwa
mga
si
issues
Step.
naman ng
Kaya nga
ating
eh.
mga migrants and OFWs sa
Yes.
United Kingdom.
Never Not
And,
Love You.
Nag-sponsor din po sila, sir, ng Anak. So, starring Vilma
okay.
Santos. So, alam niyo naman po na isa yon sa mga award-winning
Yes,
films na
Pero yung nabanggit mo,
tinakel
Princel,
isang
yung nabanggit,
OFW from Yes, sir.
yung nabanggit mo na ano yan? Yung Hello Love, ano yan? Hello Love,
Hello Love Again po.
Hello Love Again. Alam mo,
Yes po.
tsaka yung Never, ano yan? Never,
Never Not Love You.
alam mo, tuwan-tuwa si Step, yung ating coordinator dito. Talagang nagtatatalon siya sa tuwa. Kasi nakaka-relate siya dyan eh.
Yes, sir. At ang magandang balita dyan, sir, ay free po ito na sinishow po sa public.
Anyway. So, ibig sabihin, so yun na yung partnership. Ano na, regularly na maglalabas kayo ng gano'n?
Yes po, sir. So, every month of Overseas Filipino Celebration in December po, nagko-commit na po ang FDCP na magsusponsor po sila ng isang migration-related theme para maging aware po ang ating mga kababayan po dito sa Philippines man or abroad about the issues and challenges po of our Filipino migrants. It's also a way din po na malaman po ng ating public kung ano po na minsan po hindi lang po bed of stories ang kwento po ng ating mga migrants. Pinapakita din po yung mga challenges po doon na na-experience nila abroad. Kasi nga po, di ba sir, the film, they mirror the real life stories of our overseas Filipinos.
True, that's true.
Naalala ko yung nung ano yung pelikulang Dubai.
Yeah, oo, isa pa pala yun, Dubai.
Alam
Yes,
niyo
sir,
nung
yung kay Aga Mulak at kay Claudine
Oo.
Barreto.
Actually, medyo nabatikos din yung pelikula na yun. Dahil dumami yung pumunta ng Dubai after watching that movie.
Okay. Alright.
Tapos yung mga eksenang pinalabas doon ay hindi naman pala nangyayari sa totoong buhay doon.
No. Paano yun? Dapat makatulong ang FDCP doon.
Oo. So, siguro, part ka rin, ano din kasi, nagde-develop naman din talaga yung pagbuo ng mga kwento. So, yung learnings doon sa mga ganong pelikula na huwag tayong magpapalabas ng hindi naman na malayo sa katotohanan dahil yung mga naiiwan sa Pilipinas na may ambisyon ding mag-abroad, nami-misinform. Ang
Yes.
purpose naman ng partnership na to is to inform.
Yan, okay. Tsaka hindi, syempre, pinag-uusapan natin ni Princel, yung mga pelikulang nagawa na regarding sa
Oo.
migration. Wala bang plano ang CFO in
Na
coordination ng
mag-produce?
FDCP mag-produce ng sarili? Princel?
Actually, sir, oo, kasama rin po yun, sir, sa agreement po na if there's a budget
Oo.
Kung halimbawa makakuha po tayo ng sponsors po
Yan.
outside, we could help po in partnership with FDCP na makapag-develop po sana ng migration-related films
Mhm.
po na
Mm.
napapanahon at relevant po sa ating mga
Baka
overseas
pwedeng itapang
Filipinos.
DFA, ang DMW,
Oo.
ang OWA, di ba? Iba
Actually,
pa.
OWA ang may pondo dyan.
Yan, di ba? Medyo malaki-laki.
Opo.
No?
Oo.
At saka,
Idagdag ko na rin po sir no na under the partnership po
Mhm.
ay hihingin din po namin ang tulong po ng FDCP kasi po may mga programa po ang CFO gaya po ng ULEAD or Youth Leaders in the Diaspora,
Mhm.
Virtual Centro Rizal, Community Education Program on Migration,
Mhm.
ugnayan with our Filipino communities abroad. Kung po pwede po na tumulong ang FDCP, kung halimbawa, kung may ULEAD po kami dito na magsisimula na, kung pwede rin po silang makapag-organize po ng film showing for our participants
Mhm.
doon po sa kanilang bagong tayo po na Cinematheque sa Intramuros. Or kung halimbawa may mga ugnayan po kami abroad, kung baka pwedeng magdala po sila doon ng films
Mhm.
na pwedeng ipanood po sa ating mga kababayan abroad.
Yes.
So yan po ay napapaloob din po sa
Okay.
ating kontrata
Ito
with
lang
FDCP.
ito lang masasabi ko, Presel, kung sakaling matuloy nga yung pinag-uusapan, magpo-produce ang CFO at ang FDCP na may sponsorship available naman kami ni Ares na
Oo.
mag leading man or ng ano.
Pwede
Wala mo
po sir, opo.
pwede kaming illegal recruiter.
mga kaya biktima ng illegal recruitment,
Oo.
yung mga
Pwede
ganun
rin po
ba?
mga consul kayo sir.
Pwede
Ganda na po na
mga
ambassador.
consul, oo.
Pwede.
Sige.
At saka maraming artistahin dyan sa CFO.
Yeah,
diba?
yun ang sinasabi ko, di ba?
Mm.
Isa na yan, pasok nyo ng yan. Si Atty. JK, pwede yan.
Oo, pwede yan si Atty. Carlo.
At saka yung ating mga yan, yung mga officials natin yan.
Madami. Di ba, friends, no? Daming artista
Yes.
dyan. alam nito.
Alam ni Prencel. Ayan, sige. Okay, medyo napasarap ang kwentuhan
Oo
natin.
nga eh.
Napasarap ang kwentuhan natin kasi magandang kaganapan ulit ito mula sa CFO. Anyway, maraming salamat, Prencel. Maraming salamat sa
Maraming salamat
ulat.
din po, Sir Ray and Sir Ares po.
Thank you, friends. Kung hindi lang tayo kapos sa oras,
Oo.
kaso force majeure tong...
parang
Isa na naman.
yeah. Baka may mag-isip na naman yan. Sabi yung force majeure. Baka mamaya magdala ng force. Lakas. Sabi. And now, baka yun na naman senador na yun, pinag-uusap. Anyway, sige.
Pagkatuwaan lang po natin.
We were just making light of the situation na nangyayari sa ating bansa. Kaya nga kung siseryosohin po natin lahat yan.
Maisingit ko lang pala, Kuya Ray. No? Congratulate lang natin din yung CFO dahil sa isinagawang media training. Nagsimula kahapon, Biyernes, at nagtapos kanina. No? Actually, magtatapos na ngayong mga ilang minuto na lang.
Wow.
Patapos na siya.
Okay. So, bukod pa yan doon sa summit.
Bukod pa yan
Sa
sa
June,
summit.
sa June.
Itong ginawang media training, nandun kasama yung ating mga taga-World Service, taga-RP1. Para ipaliwanag yung mga nuances ng migration
Yes,
na
oo.
parang nakakabit din dun sa bakit nagkaroon ng MOA with FDCP is kaya para may ipaliwanag yung mga bagay-bagay sa migration kasi napaka-komplikadong issue
Yes.
nito.
Totoo naman yan. Totoo. Kasi tsaka, yung pag, sa isang ordinary news beat reporter, halimbawa, tulad nila Step, no? O nino man pa dyan. Siyempre, iba yung treatment mo kapag ang kinocover mong news patungkol sa migration. Iba yan sa police beat, iba yan sa general beat na sinasabi.
Oo.
Iba yan sa, sabi natin, yung man on the street na ginagawa mo.
Kasi maraming...
Iba yung migration.
Oo.
Iba yung you treat it differently. Yung sa kailangan very careful ka diyan.
Kasi maraming mga nangyayaring bagay. Hindi lang yan yung nagbiyahe. Naghanap ng trabaho, nagbiyahe. maraming ano yan eh, maraming
Maraming layers yan.
tinatamaan eh.
Oo, maraming
So yun
layers.
ang pinaintindi ng CFO doon sa isinagawang media training
Mhm.
na yan po ay brainchild ni Secretary Clink na bilang isang newsman
Totoo.
minabuti niyang magkaroon ng ganito.
Okay. And of course, siyempre, I know naging magandang resulta ng activity na yan. Again, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsubaybay sa isa pang episode ng Bridges on Air. Muli po ako yung lingkod, Ray Sampang.
Ares Gutierrez po.
Thank you very much. Pero siyempre, dito sa first portion kami nagpapaalam pero tuloy-tuloy pa rin tayo.
Oo.
Kasi meron pa tayo second segment, yung Pinoy Ako segment. So, antabayanan po nyo yan.
Maganda yung usapan natin
Nako,
dyan.
ito tama ba? Yung siya involved siya sa energy. Yun, di ba? Yung, baka makatulong po. Pakinggan nyo susunod naming episode, segment. May kinalaman sa alternative energy, sustainable energy, batteries, no, yung mga technology na bago ngayon. So makakasama po natin siya mamaya. So just stay tuned. Dito lamang po sa programang Bridges
On Air.
on Air.
Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Work abroad? Easy money. No visa. Baka human trafficking yan. Makialam, itimbre mo. Tumawag sa 1343 para humingi ng tulong. Paalala mula sa Interagency Council Against Trafficking.
Pinoy Ako. Tampok ang natatanging kaling at dedikasyon ng Pinoy na nagbigay karangalan sa inang bayan at nagsilbing inspirasyon at modelo sa kapwa Pinoy saan man sa mundo. Pinoy Ako. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
At syempre, nandito na po tayo ngayon sa ating segmentong Pinoy Ako segment ng ating programang Bridges on Air. Muli po, ako yung lingkod, Ray Sampang. Kasama pa rin.
Ares Gutierrez po ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas.
Paalala lamang po, ang programang Bridges on Air ay isang collaborative effort sa pagitan ng Radyo Pilipinas World Service, ng Presidential Broadcast Service at ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Ngayon, Sir Ares, ito na yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina. Yung isang Filipino, well, actually, matuturing ba natin itong American citizen? Matagal na siya dun eh.
Tanong natin, baka
Sige.
nag-dual citizen
Baka
na rin
nag-dual
ito.
citizen din to. Pero, alam mo, very timely itong panayam natin na to ngayong umaga. Sapagkat isa sa mga nakikita kong highlights ng kanyang accomplishments, maging yung mga ginagawa niya hanggang ngayon, ay may kinalaman sa sektor ng enerhiya.
Tama-tama dahil tayo ay ang buong mundo ngayon ay nasa gitna ng
Oo.
energy crisis. At
Sinabi mo pa.
malamang ay malaki ang magiging kontribusyon ng ating guest.
Tuwing binubuksan ko yung bill ko sa Meralco, talaga umiiyak ako eh.
Oo nga eh.
Napapaiyak ako. Sabi ko, yung sweldo ko napunta lang sa Meralco. Yung,
Saka yung actually yung mga tao na marami na rin kasing tayong kababayan na bago pa nagkaroon ng crisis, nag-invest na sa solar energy.
yan, isa pa yan.
Tapos bigla na lang mayroon tayong maririnig na balita na
Policy.
i-regulate daw yung paggamit ng
Nako,
solar
yan,
energy.
tatanong natin
Oo,
yan.
tanong natin.
Okay, bakit noong hindi pa ganong kasidhi ang kagustuhan ng mga Pilipino na mag-ship sa solar energy, hindi naman pinapansin to.
Oo.
Pero ngayon ganito yung sitwasyon at dumadami na yung nag-shift sa alternative sources of energy, biglang magkakaroon ng
Oo.
regulasyon. Di ba?
Oo nga eh.
Siyempre, pag may regulasyon, may bayad.
Oo.
May fee. Ayan. Didagdag na naman yun.
Tataas na naman yan.
So, si Mario Josep. So, tingnan natin kung itong ating makakasama para ating Pinoy Ako segment for today. Kasama po natin ang 2006 Papio Pamana ng Filipino Awardee. Walang iba kundi si Ginoong Larry L. Acera. Ginoong Acera, magandang araw po at welcome sa programang Bridges on Air.
Yeah, good day. Am I on? This is Larry.
Yes, you're on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. It's
Good
glad
day,
to-
Larry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, kasama natin sa studio si Mr. Ares Gutierrez.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. How do you do?
Alright.
How do you do?
Alright. So, Mr. Acera, Mr. Larry, can we call you Larry?
Yeah, just call me Larry. Yeah.
All right. So, Larry, napag-uusapan namin ni Ares, a pending question. Ikaw ba isang American citizen o dual citizen?
Okay. First of all, I'm a third generation American. If we could do this in English, to be better.
Yes,
Yeah.
good.
My family's been in America since 1906, and I had 3 generations of family there. And I'm here in the Philippines because I'm bringing back my technology and my knowledge in science and solar and clean energy to the Philippines. So
Okay.
English would be better for me.
Yeah, I understand, sir, you're an engineer. Are you an electrical engineer?
I know I'm a civil and environmental engineer,
All
also a
right.
scientist, and I've been involved in the clean energy technology for 3 decades, but not in the Philippines, all over the world. But our
Okay.
base company, Acera Group, is out of California.
Mhm.
But we've extended our investments here in the Philippines after 3 decades of solar, wind, and now we have a battery manufacturing plant here in the Philippines.
Sir Larry, why were you called as an energy star of Vallejo, California?
Okay, so I've been involved in energy since I graduated actually from Berkeley because my professor there, Hans Einstein, the son of Albert Einstein, was my physics professor. And I got into the solar business real early when I graduated back in the 1970s. And I got into the what's called photovoltaics, the conversion of sunlight into energy and power. I was born and raised in Vallejo, California. And when I was in basically the middle of beginning and middle of launching solar companies in the United States, mainly in California, my hometown appointed me the energy czar because I was doing projects, innovative projects back in the 1980s.
Okay. So, you got a lot of experience when it comes to, let's say, clean energy and sustainable energy. So, first things first, are you here to stay in the Philippines, Larry?
That's a good question. I'm glad to be here as part of the CFO because, I did get the Pamanang Filipino Award, but that was 20 years ago. It wasn't until now I got I got the medal. See, I'm carrying it now.
Okay. All right.
And ironically, I was awarded this 20 years ago, but the chairman of CFO was the father of the chairman now, Dante Ang. But yeah, I decided I'm semi-retired. I've had 2, 3 different companies that I've sold. I sold one of my companies to Elon Musk a long time ago. Although solar is the basis of my background, I decided to make a commitment after I was a Balik scientist here from the OST, Department of Science and Technology. They decided also to call me a Balik scientist returning, although I'm not. I decided I'm returning on behalf of my grandparents. My grandparents migrated here as farm workers, sakaras. And my grandmother, I remember when I was little, she told me that one day when I was 8 years old, she said, you will be returning and helping the Philippines. Now, an 8-year-old, third generation American boy, right? I was very fortunate to have the right education, UC Berkeley, MIT. I got in the clean energy business, and I decided if I'm semi-retired, why don't I bring my technology back to where my grandparents are from? So I'm here.
Wow.
I'm here. Okay.
So, Engineer Larry, where do you trace your roots here in the Philippines?
Okay, so my parents, second generation, they were all born either in Hawaii or California. It was my grandparents, on my father's side, Waray. Okay?
Waray.
Samar. Okay, and then on my mother's side, Ilocano.
Okay. So Bisaya, it's a mix of Bisaya and Ilocano.
Yeah.
Oo.
Yes,
The best of
yes.
both worlds.
Yeah, best of both worlds. And interesting, they didn't meet in the Philippines. My grandparents, they met in Hawaii. Again, as in my humble beginnings, they were farm laborers living in labor camps. Okay, and they sought a better world for their children and grandchildren. They migrated to California, and I'm migrating back. I'm part of what's called the brain gain, and I'm proud of it.
Yes,
And I want to take the technology that I've been blessed with, which is solar, wind, and now we have a battery manufacturing plant here. I want to be able to help the Philippines become energy independent and use my technology that I'm blessed with.
All right. Larry, being a energy czar and also an expert on the field of photovoltaic energy development, and of course, also being a expert on sustainable and clean energy, how do you assess the current infrastructure, energy infrastructure situation in the Philippines?
Currently, the Philippines is, unfortunately, now that we're more aware of it because of the Gulf crisis, is too much independent on fossil fuels. The power plants that provide power from the grid down to, say, the Meralco level, unfortunately, 60% or so comes from fossil fuel, meaning coal and what I call dirty energy. Okay. Since 2008, when the Renewable Energy Act was passed, I wish there had been more renewable energy, clean power plants, non-fossil fuel, constructed here, but unfortunately, it didn't go that fast because of the combination of economics and public policy. So the situation here, we have a negative impact now because we depend so much on oil. You see it at the fuel pump. You see it it's going to hit more on the grid and at the distribution level, and your home bill is going to go up. As long as there's dependency on oil and gas, the oil prices will go up. So we need to change that, and I think the time is right for me to be investing in non-fossil fuel, clean energy, sustainable power. And our theme I have 3 businesses here, have been to decarbonize the grid. And
Okay.
we need to start doing that, and I'm glad there's more of awareness now. Okay, I wish it was that way when the Renewable Energy Act was passed in 2008, but it's coming here, and this is good timing. We should start decarbonizing the grid, and we should start being more energy independent by not relying on fossil fuel plants. Coal-fired plants should be phased out, and we should be doing gigawatts of solar and wind and hydro.
So when you say that you're investing, is it proper to assume that you will be opening your own company and perhaps a manufacturing plant for solar panels and accessories?
Yes, that's correct. I have a holding company called the Acera Group. I'm the chairman and the founder and the CEO, and we brought our technologies from the United States. We have invested here in 3 different companies. Yes, we're, I guess, classified. By the way, you asked earlier, I'm not a dual citizen. I'm still an American citizen. I still live in California. I'm phasing here, but we're investing here to show our commitment. And so we have SEC registered companies here in the solar microgrid, number 1. Number 2, we do solar charging stations for EVs, electric vehicles. And number 3, most important, we have a new factory here. Yes, in the Philippines for new generation batteries for huge solar farms. So energy storage. Actually, it's called BESS, Battery Energy Storage Systems. Yes, and we're an FDI, a foreign direct investor.
Wow.
So we walk the talk.
Yes. How much, may I respectfully ask, how much investment did you put in?
Well, most of that's confidential, but we run 2 factories and a corporate office here, and usually, that requires millions of dollars. So
Yes.
I'd rather not
Yeah.
say them
All
out,
right.
but enough where
yeah.
we are definitely competitors in the sustainability market here. In fact, we're the only battery manufacturing firm here, and everything we do, we have a label. We say proudly Pinoy. So even though I'm returning, I want to make sure that everything we do is owned by Filipinos, although I'm Phil-Am. I'm not dual yet, okay? But we hire Filipino employees.
But do you plan? But do you plan to avail of that dual citizenship in the future, in the near future?
I might. I have to say there's kind of 2 different. It's interesting. This is a CFO, right? To the diaspora. I don't know if I qualify because even when I was a Balik scientist, I'm not a Balik, okay? And so to be a dual citizen, I had to show the citizenship of my parents, and my parents were born in the United States. So there's a little legal technicality. And then they said, well, maybe you can use your grandparents. Well, my grandparents, when they migrated, they were nationals. Okay? Remember, this was a colony then, and the birth records of them were destroyed during World War II.
Oh, okay.
See, so I don't have evidence. but I'm certainly proud, and I have the blood.
Yes, yes,
Now,
yes.
can I do that legally? Well, I have attorneys looking at that, and I
Mhm.
would be definitely proud to do that. But for now, I'm a resident and a voter in California, and my
Mhm.
home is in California. But I'm here 10, 11 months a year.
Wow.
I
Okay.
plan to stay here.
So sir, going back to your venture, you earlier mentioned that your company, you're also involved in wind energy, and there's this another sustainable energy. Are you focusing only on solar, or will you also be bringing in wind energy?
Okay, so I decided, since I've been in this business for 3 decades, and historically I'm listed as a pioneer in this industry. I'm not involved in the manufacturing of the solar or the wind products. There are big players here now in the Philippines doing it, and they weren't doing it when I was doing it. I was doing small solar with small batteries in the island of Palawan when I first came here under a USAID grant. I decided to move more towards the BESS. That's actually the
Okay.
key to sustainability. We need to have our own storage of power. Let the big boys, if you want to say, you know who they are. They're doing the gigawatt solar and wind. Uh, I'm not doing power generating plants anymore because that's big. It's out of my range. I'm still a small business. We're sort of, I guess, classified as a SME, small,
Mhm.
medium-sized business. We're a startup, okay, but we're self-funded for now. We're Philippine-owned, even Philippine-American-owned. We plan to make this, again, as I said, we have a label, a sticker on the batteries we make. We plan to move more towards the batteries because that's what's going to make this country independent. The larger companies that do the wind, and to your question, the windmills, particularly offshore, huge advantage here and inventory of potential non-fossil fuel. I'd like to see that. When they do that, this new law, microgrid law here, requires a certain percentage has to be battery storage. You can't do power generation anymore without battery storage because you need battery storage for backup, for nighttime, and to help. And that's what we'll be involved in adjusting the grid on the high and low peak. So we're more on the battery storage, and we'll be that part of the electrification market here. And battery is what's going to be the sustainability part.
All right. Larry, you mentioned that you have started your own companies here in the Philippines. And I think if I heard you correctly, you said you have your own plant here in the Philippines. So
Yes.
how many do you employ on those plants? How many Filipinos do you employ?
Okay, so our base company, our corporate office is in Ortigas.
Mhm.
Okay, and we have partners with a law firm there, and we have over, say, 10 employees, starters. Okay,
Mhm.
in the factory, at least 10. But we have to move the factory. It's in Las Piñas right now. We're going to move it to QC because we are in discussions with UP.
Mhm.
They're attracting us to Diliman at a techno park there because we need to expand up to 50 to 100 employees immediately because of the demand.
Wow.
So we plan overnight, maybe by the end of the year, we'll have over 100 employees. We're going to expand Las Piñas. We're going to relocate it to a place right next to UP Diliman, and we're going to be entering into R&D contract with UP to help extend the research and development for our battery, because our battery is a unique. I'm just going to say it's next generation, but no one else is doing our battery. It's not the typical battery you see in the BYD
Wow.
or the Tesla,
Okay.
and it's different than the batteries coming from China. We want this to be Filipino made.
Yeah.
It's a unique technology that I and my partners have patents, and part of it comes out of the U.S., part of it comes out of Japan, but it'll be owned by Filipino company, proudly Pinoy again.
So can we proudly proudly say that the batteries that will be produced from your companies will go farther than those batteries produced by China or BYD?
Yes, my battery has been validated by labs in U.S. Actually, UC Berkeley, again, my alma mater, and the chemistry we're using is not a straight. All you hear about is lithium-ion batteries from China. They're cheap. Our batteries have higher capacity, higher efficiency.
Wow.
It doesn't take as long to charge when we use it for EVs. You don't have to wait 2-3 hours. The chemical makeup of our battery, again, without disclosing that, without an NDA,
Yes.
right? The automobile will go almost twice as far as
Uy.
the regular battery.
Really?
Okay, so it goes longer, shorter time to
Charge?
charge, but more importantly, because of the chemical we use, it doesn't heat up and blow up.
So that's the secret, the chemical that you use there.
Yes. And we're under an NDA, and we could maybe off record, we can talk about it, because I know this is a public announcement. But our plan has only been up, for about a year. But we plan to build that up for another 3-4 years near UP, so that we can have an academic attachment to it and make it even more Pinoy. Okay.
So we will assume that this will be more safer than those made from China.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of our selling points
Mhm.
right now, because we've used them already into the EVs here as an experiment, but because we're on the commercial side, we went straight to technology transfer, which is another benefit here in the Philippines. We tested it, and we are using it inside of public utility vehicles right now on e-jeepneys and e-tracks. And it works, and you don't have to. Actually, our system right now, we don't just charge the battery. We have a solar charging station. We combine solar. This is our sustainability model with the batteries that we make and that we own, and the utility vehicle comes in and they swap the batteries, so they don't have to wait 2 hours, 3 hours. They
Oy.
swap the batteries. The batteries are being charged all day by our solar charging station.
Okay.
That's our change in paradigm shift in terms of how the EV market is moving.
All right, but this is the next question, Larry. Will it cost a lot more compared to the other battery panels?
Oh, no, it's not, because we're in manufacturing here. Okay. So it's going to be cheaper. And the
Yes.
more we make, the cheaper per unit. It's kind of like solar. I'll give you an example. We had a solar project in a New Clark City 10 years ago. And that solar project, which is a typical solar grid, was 100 megawatts on 100 hectares in New Clark City. We didn't build it yet because it was during COVID and all that, and it stopped. But at the time, that solar project, 100 megawatt solar project, cost $200 million US. Okay. Because we've been delayed with that and the freeway and some other things, we haven't built it yet, but we got our latest construction called EPC, excuse me, estimate. That $200 million project, solar farm, is now $80 million.
Wow.
So you can see how low that cost has gone down. The batteries back then we were experimenting with were $300. Now they're less than $100, okay, per kilowatt. So when you combine the two, you have a much cheaper power system. What we've invested in is the whole ecosystem, both the power generation and, more important, because the future is going to be storage, where on the front end of that, we will have a power system and power technology system that lowers the cost overall. Already, if it's just solar, but with the battery, not only lowers the cost of generation, much lower than what you're going to be paying at Meralco, because I know what it costs now to
Yes.
build it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
much lower, and we don't have to pay for distribution, and we don't have to pay for generation if we use it on site at a substation where we own the batteries, and the batteries now control the in and the out, the off and the on. Does that make sense to you? That's kind of the simple version, but we own the technology, we own the ecosystem. It's a real sustainable development project, and the term now is used is decarbonization. We have basically reduced our carbon footprint throughout the whole ecosystem of power generation, distribution, and storage, BESS. You have to talk about BESS today. The largest BESS, solar plus battery, that's going to be built in the world happens to be here in the Philippines.
Wow. Okay.
Larry, you mentioned earlier that you have a partnership with CFO. So can you discuss this partnership of yours?
Well, what CFO partnership? Well, we were just recognized last week. Again, 20 years later. I don't know if it's called a partnership, but it's certainly this is my first time I've done something with CFO, the Commission on Philippine Overseas. I'm very proud to wear this. I got this presidential medal. I should have got it 10 years ago, but I was absent because we were too busy working. So if you call it a partnership, an affiliation, I'm just starting now to be part of. This is my first kind of Zoom. Radio Philippines.
Yes.
To share this information, and I think on June 16th there's a diaspora summit at CFO, and so I guess if you want to call it partnership, we're going to contribute whatever we can to share our knowledge.
So, another question, Larry. So we're talking about, of course, those are modern batteries which you will produce locally here in the Philippines, and of course we're talking about batteries that can be used in transportation. especially in electric vehicles. But do you also have plans to expand it for, let's say, commercial use in housing use, Larry, or housing or residential use?
Yeah. Eventually, there'll be others involved. You know, we're new at this and we're a startup company. We decided to not concentrate on the residential or the C&I, commercial industrial, yet. We skipped from the EV for our battery. We call the small battery. So if you look at this, you know, like the A, double A, triple A,
Yeah.
C, and D, we went straight to the D. The
Mhm,
D size, if you want to call it, it's much bigger. Is going to be batteries that are in 40-foot containers
Wow.
on
Okay.
substation sites. So we're going to be dealing with the power plant developers for now. So we went from the small battery that you put into an e-trike. We call that the small battery division. The middle-sized battery decision or division, we're going to do, maybe we'll do some commercial and industrial, but we're definitely going to put up solar charging stations for EV. That's another brand we have. And then the third one, sort of the D battery, is the huge 40-foot containers for the gigawatt size project. Now, we've had a lot of inquiries. That's a good question. On the small battery side, can we do it for the consumer and for the home? That's
Yes.
not our market yet, okay?
Mhm.
It's there'll be other people getting into this, but they'll probably buy our batteries. But we're concentrating on the megawatt and gigawatt
Yeah.
size.
Okay. So how is the Philippine government assisting you on this? How are they? How receptive are they? Are they giving you all the assistance needed for you to be successful in establishing your companies and making it work here in the Philippines? Are they receptive? Are they open to you and to your company so that you can make it more successful?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's interesting that the incentives for a corporation like ours to start here. We started as as a new Philippine corporation, SEC registered. We registered as renewable energy. There's incentives just for that. But more important is that we are locating our new plant and our future plants into a what's called a special economic zone, or which is a PESA zone on steroids. So one of the sites we're looking at, I can say in general, is in New Clark City. When we're going to go to automation, fully automation. Right now we're doing it manually because we're training Filipinos here, okay? But when we go to the automation plant, which might be 100,000 square meters, okay, we're located in the special economic zone, and the special economic zone gives us a 7-year tax holiday. We're VAT free if we export, because we plan that our plant, our facility, our manufacturing plant will be the center of distributing batteries outside of the Philippines in the ASEAN area. That's one of the reasons we picked the Philippines. So I can tell you right now, having 7-year income tax holiday, having a zero VAT, and then there's also a tax credit for the because of the unique chemical we're using, really makes the affordability and the profitability very much an incentive to be here as an investor in the Philippines. Is that kind of what you're asking? Yes. A lot of people aren't aware of it. They just you have to be in a special economic zone, and the Philippines just signed a compact for what they call Luzon Economic Corridor.
Yes,
Starts
yes.
at Subic, goes up to Clark, it comes down through Manila to down to Batangas, and we're going to be located in there, probably Clark. Okay.
All right. So would you recommend this? Would you recommend others like you in the field of renewable energy, or let's say alternative energy? Would you recommend this for them to, take a look at the Philippines, or maybe invest in the Philippines?
Yes. I mean, obviously we're the brain gang. We're coming back as Filipino Americans here. There are going to be other investors coming here, believe me. The president's in Japan now. He's going to, so we actually have a contract with one of the Japanese cells. Yes, I would recommend it, because this economy, this whole renewable energy economy, is going to have to really build up fast. When this country has 85% dependency on oil from the Gulf, and it all of a sudden raises the price of everything from the fertilizer to for agriculture to the gas pump for your gasoline, and your Meralco costs. That has to change, and it's not going to change unless you get more investors. We're a small business, we plan to obviously expand, but there's plenty of room for competition. On one hand, I say yes, it definitely will. They could be competition. Maybe they'll go into the residential or the commercial side. But I've got my niche. I want to
Yes.
stay there,
Mhm.
and we'll be happy to have our contribution because I made a commitment, which is now called nation building. I made a commitment to clean energy and to reduce the carbon footprint here. Now it's under climate change. It's under the word sustainability. We're there, just a different name. I'm doing the same thing I did 30 years ago when I put a solar panel and the old lead acid battery in an eco village that we created in Palawan under a DOST contract. That was 30 years ago.
Mhm.
That
And
was
that-
one of the
and-
first panels there.
And that eco village in Palawan, it's still there.
Yes, but we had to change the panels because the panels have changed.
Mm-hmm.
And we obviously we're not using motor light batteries or car
Okay.
batteries anymore.
Yeah.
We're using clean energy. So there was just a small village. Yeah, it's still there. It's a fishing
Wow.
village. But it was the start for me to make a commitment to come back. And it was around the time, I guess, when I won the Pamanang Filipino Award. But we were getting contracts from USAID,
Whoa.
from the United Nations. The whole concept of sustainability and for the Philippines to promote this, they're going to have to be involved with the United Nations under COP 29, 30, 31, because that's the mechanism and the platform. That's the other incentive. It's not a Philippine incentive. It's United Nations incentive under climate change, where funding will come down from United Nations and into this country through multilateral banks. So we'll be working with like the ADBs and the World Bank from Climate Action Funds is what it's called, trickling down from if you follow COP 29, 30, the new one coming up, 31, okay? That's another way of funding into the Philippines through multilateral banks and UN.
Will you be giving a preview of your technology during the Diaspora Summit?
Yeah, we might. I'm going to meet with the CFO staff, and we met for the first time, Clink and Dr. Young, and they're going to go over with me the agenda. I'm on the first panel on the summit, and I think Karen Jimeno is the moderator.
Mhm.
And so I haven't gone over the agenda yet, but I don't know, because sometimes I think they were more interested not in this discussion, which is science technology. I also was the first Filipino ever elected to public office in the United States back in 1973, and so they seem to be concentrating more on my political background. Okay, because I was a city councilman, county
Yes.
supervisor, legislator, all the way up to the governor's office, and they're more interested in how that affects the diaspora in terms of Filipinos there in America. Me as a political official, but yeah, I might. It depends how many questions are asked. I think that one. I don't know how that forum might be an hour. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
If I have the chance to go there on the Diaspora Summit, I will be asking a lot of questions regarding. So CFO will be forced to tell you have to have a physical exhibit of your product.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. Okay. Well, just a week ago was the solar expo, right? It happens every year, but they don't call it Solar Expo anymore. It's Solar and Storage Expo. So storage is the key. BESS, in fact, our new company is called E-BESS. That's going to be the key to make this country independent. Okay, you need self-reliance. You need to make your energy and keep your energy. You need to not have that oil coming here. You need to have free sunlight, solar, my thing, all right? Charging batteries, my thing. And the battery energy, which is free, stays here. But the battery itself is made here. We have total independence, self-reliance. That's what I want to do. It isn't just the technology. It's not just I've been in business for 3 decades now. And the 3 companies we started them, we financed them. And right now we want to make ourselves independent too.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Our last question, Larry, for this interview. You said your grandparents or great grandparents told you once when you were still a kid that someday you'll be going back to the Philippines and help the Philippines. Now that you're here, you have established your own company, and this is not just an ordinary company. it's a game changer if you study really, if you study it really hard. It's a game changer for the Philippines. So what can you tell your grandparents? What can you tell them now that you're here in the Philippines and you're doing this already? What message can you give them if they're listening? If just imagine they're in front of you, listening to you right now. What message do you want to tell them?
Wow, that's an emotional question. I mean, I think about them all the time. I would say, Lola, you know what you said is happening. That your dream to come to America and make it and be beyond living in a labor camp, we're going to go beyond that. I was blessed by you and my parents to get the right education. You helped me. I'm going to help realize your dream and bring it back to the Philippines. And I hope, Lola, that what I'm doing here will leave a legacy on your behalf.
With that, Larry, thank you very much for joining us in our program today.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invite. And
Thank you, and we'll be seeing you in the Diaspora Summit.
And
I'm gonna look at your questions.
like I said, Larry, if I'm able to join the summit on that, expect that a lot of questions from me regarding this.
I'd be glad to sit down with you separately. Too, if you
Yes.
want.
All right.
You know.
Thank you very much, Larry, and we wish you all the best. And I know the legacy that you will be leaving, you'll be establishing here in the Philippines, will do a lot for us, especially for the Filipino people. Just what like your grandparents already told you when you were still young. Thank you very much, Larry.
Thank you, and proudly Pinoy. Mabuhay.
Thank
Buhay.
you, buhay. Mr. Larry L. Acera, our 2006 Papio Pamana ng Filipino awardee. Alam nyo, Energy Czar siya, Ares, no? He was known as the Energy Czar ng Vallejo, California.
Alam mo yung nagkikwento siya yung BESS niya.
Mhm.
Naaalala ko yung napanood kong documentary tungkol sa BYD, kung paano nagsimula ang BYD.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Battery lang din talaga sila nagsimula.
Di ba yung mga double A?
Yung mga rechargeables.
Oo.
And then lumaki sila ng lumaki
Oo.
hanggang sa gumawa na sila ng kotse.
Yung yung parang ang kwento rin ng BYD is, sila mismo yung gumagawa.
Oo.
Lahat ng components, sila rin ang gumagawa. Hindi sila nag-export, hindi sila nag-import, sila lang. Kaya nung nagkaroon ng nagkaroon ng problema yata nun sa pagdating sa technology at saka sa resources, materials, hindi sila masyado naapektuhan dahil in-house lahat eh. Parang itong ginagawa ngayon nila Larry.
Oo.
At this is, sabi nga niya, proudly Pinoy made. At saka yung yung liquid na ginagamit. Kasi yung liquid na yun yung coolant eh.
Yung chemical.
Yung chemical,
Oo.
yun yung coolant na nagsusustain dun sa battery. Kakaiba kaysa dun sa mga
Kasi parang yun yata ang issue ngayon sa mga batteries,
Mhm.
ba? Yung safety.
yes, yung biglang nagliliyab.
At saka yung mileage, di ba sabi niya doble ng
Oo, doble capacity.
So malaki game change. Tama ka sir, game changer nga itong ginagawa nila Engineer Acera.
Kasi kung mas malayo mararating, mas hindi na ako, kung halimbawa, bibili ako ng EV, halimbawa, may nahulog na pera galing sa langit. Yan. Tama-tama, nasa harap ko. Tapos bumili ako ng EV, di ba? Kasi ang unang-unang iniisip ko, hindi naman ganun karami yung charging station dito sa Pilipinas eh. Pag pumunta ba ako ng Baguio, aabot kaya ito ng Baguio pabalik ng Manila, di ba? Kung walang charging station.
Actually, nandyan pa rin yung agam-agam nung... Although maraming parang namulat ngayon na electric vehicle. Pero hindi pa rin ganun karami yung lumilipat sa EV. Kasi yun nga yung mga tanong eh.
Yung mga
Pag
concerns.
naubusan akong baterya, saan ako magcha-charge?
Saan ako magcha-charge? Minsan, ewan ko ito, i-blind item ko na lang. Isang taxi company na EV ang gamit. Nag-aaway-away yung mga taxi driver dun eh.
Kasi wala na rin silang baterya.
Nag-uunahan sila sa charging station. So nagkakainitan sila, di ba? at matagal yung isa nagcha-charge. Siyempre, pag matagal na nagcha-charge, nawawala ng opportunity na kumita, di ba?
Oo,
kasi
kasi
naka-standby ka eh.
Ano ka lang eh, nandun ka lang,
Nandun ka
hintay
lang.
ka eh.
Kaya nagiinit ang ulo ng iba.
Saka sa mga malls, kahit na nakikita natin na may charging stations, pero marami na yung apat.
Marami na. Oo, totoo lang. Marami na yung apat. So itong kay Larry sa company niya, tsaka dito sa sinasabi niyang yung special liquid yun eh,
Oo.
na chemical that will give it more endurance, mileage, double the
nga daw eh.
mileage, tsaka safety. Yan. Kaya nga nabanggit ko kanina, game changer ito. At mahalaga dito, locally made, Philippine made.
Oo.
Yan, kita mo.
Kaya sabi niya, di ba, proudly Pinoy.
Proudly Pinoy. Yan, sige. Ayan, at syempre tayo magpapaalam na, Ares, sa ating episode ngayon na Bridges on Air.
Pero kakaiba yung ano pala niya, no? Mabalikan lang natin. Siya ay third generation. Na Pilipinong
Tapos,
migrante.
Nasa ano ba yun? Nabanggit niya kanina, nasa camp ba? Parang yan.
Labor camp.
Labor camp.
Kasi di ba yung kwento nga nung mga naunang nag-migrate dun sa mga pineapple farm sa Hawaii. Parang siguro ganun, no?
Parang ganun din.
Sakada.
Oo. Yun doon nagsimula ang istorya niya sa mga great grandparents niya.
Grandparents.
Pero Waray, I think sa mother side Waray, tama ba? O sa father side Waray?
Father niya ang Ilocano.
Ang father niya Ilocano, ang mother niya is Waray.
Waray.
Oh. Sabi mo nga kanina, the best of both worlds.
Oo. Saka sa Hawaii, di ba, yung maraming Ilocano. Kasi
Yes.
yun nga doon, yung mga Ilocano nga.
Yun ang unang-una nagpunta doon.
Import doon.
Oo. Kaya 'di ba pag nagpunta ka ng parang sabi nga nila, parang ang second dialect doon Ilocano.
Oo.
Ilocano sa Hawaii, sa Guam, yung mga ganyan, 'di ba? Yeah.
Kaya nga nung na-exile si Apo Ferdinand, siya at home dahil ang dami niyang kababayan.
Hindi siya mahirapan makipagkuhan, di ba?
Oo.
Alright. Pero syempre, tabayanan po natin yan, itong produkto na ito, nila Larry L. Acera at saka nung kanyang kumpanya na itatayo. Actually, gumagana na yung kumpanya niya, naitayo na niya.
Saka sa Clark na itatayo yan, by the time na naitayo niya yung planta niya, buo na lahat nung
di ba yung Luzon Luzon Economic Corridor na nabanggit niya. Actually, meron pa yan expanded Luzon Economic Corridor. Dati if my memory serves me right, 3 lang dati yan. Japan, Philippines, US. Ngayon, yung expanded Luzon Economic Corridor, ang dami na niyan. May Australia, meron pa kang Canada dyan
Oo.
na sumama na rin. So, asahan natin, sana makatulong sa mga darating na panahon. Plus yung Paxilica pa. Itatayo pa yung Paxilica dyan sa Clark din. Malaking rin yun, malaking investments din yun. Sa mga semiconductor din yun, sa mga AI technology, sa mga sustainable energy, alternative energy.
Ito yung mga development na ginagawa ng pamahalaan ngayon na hindi natin agad nakikita pero ang laki ng magiging kinabukasan natin dyan.
Totoo yan. Saan ka pa naman? Siyempre sa Pilipinas, ngayon lang napakainit dito So, ibig sabihin, yung solar energy talagang, di ba, malaking makukuha mo na energy from sunlight dahil tropical country tayo. Okay. Maliban na lang pag sunod-sunod ang bagyo. Wag naman. Okay, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsubaybay sa isa pang edisyon ng Bridges on Air. Siyempre, sa ngalan po ng ating mga nakasama dito sa ating production at engineering side. Sa production, ating coordinator si Ms. Stephanie Vicente. Sa master control si Milo Junela. Sa wirecast si Justin. And of course, sa pamunuan ng Presidential Broadcast Service at sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Siyempre, mula naman sa Commission on Filipinos Overseas, Ares?
Si Secretary Dante Kling-Ang at si Attorney Carlo Magracia. Siyempre, si Undersecretary Arlene Borja. Isama na rin natin sa pasasalamatan natin.
Siyempre, sa lahat na bumubuo ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsubaybay. At muli po, ito yung mga lingkod, Ray Sampang.
Ares Gutierrez po, para sa Commission on Filipinos Overseas.
Para po sa Bridges on Air.
Bridges on Air. Tulay sa Himpapawid. Panagsanib na puwersa ng PBS Radyo Pilipinas World Service at Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Magsisilbing tulay sa himpapawid para sa Filipino diaspora. Dala ay balita, impormasyon at serbisyo publiko na mag-uugnay sa pamahalaan at OFWs sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Tampok din ang mga Pilipino na nagbibigay inspirasyon, kampyon ng kultura, tradisyon at katatagan ng Pilipino sa kapwa Pinoy saan man sa mundo. Bridges on Air. Tulay sa himpapawid. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.